Hello, everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak. I'm going to share with all of you another scary story, a true scary story of all the having to do with all the fucked up shit that happened. And this is something from the time of my surgery, where I actually had this. And this is going to be kind of hard for me to explain, to talk about, because I don't know, but just bear with me because it's very difficult for me to talk about. So, here we go. All right, I had my surgery on the April 15th or 16th, I think, something like that, of 2016. I had to get this surgery for my sleep apnea condition. So a tracheoscopy is what they call it. Where they make that hole in my neck that I just showed you right now, so I can breathe better. And it was supposed to be long-term temporary, which it was. It was supposed to work, which it kind of did, but at the same time it didn't. Excuse me. Damn allergies. Anyways, the point is, I had the surgery done. The recovery from this thing is, it sucks. It fucking sucks. For the first 2 days, I couldn't talk and all this kind of stuff like that. But anyways, the thing that was really really fucking strange to me, and I'm trying to make sense of this. After the surgery was over, I spent about 4 or 5 days in the hospital, and then they strongly advised me to go to a physical rehab center. They were pretty much trying to push it. They're trying to push it. You should go to this rehab center. You're gonna need it. Is very important. And they were constantly pushing me on doing it. And I noticed there was one nurse that was being a serious bitch that actually annoyed me. Well, but while the rest of them were pretty cool. Anyways, she was like criticizing everything that I was doing, and of course at first I couldn't talk, so I had to like write things down, and I was just being defiant. She says, "Don't use this for that. Don't do this, whatever, and this and that." While someone else was telling me that I could do it. And of course, me not being able to talk, how the fuck can I even explain that to her? And I constantly have to write it down and stuff like that. So with so much bitching, and then my mom and my dad and my siblings, they said, yeah, maybe you should, because you just had this thing done. You need some time to recover. You can't go home yet. So in a sense, I can understand. So I didn't really think much of it, but there was this small percentage that I just didn't feel good about it. But they were constantly pushing me for it, for me to go to this physical rehab center, to stay there for a few weeks. So I ended up going. As soon as I got there, it seemed okay, but I had this feeling of uncertainty. There was just something that just didn't seem right. I mean, it looked normal. It looked like any typical, hospital or clinic or whatever you want to call it. They had my own room. The room was big. I had it all to myself, by myself, one bed. I couldn't take a shower because the water. If I took a shower, the water could go into my open wound into my tube, and I could choke. The water will go into my trachea, and I could choke to death. So it was dangerous to do that. So I had to get a sponge bath. So no big deal. Just everything was good to a degree, of course. And again, there was another bitch in that hospital, and she was giving me a lot of shit. And then it was like she was trying to antagonize me. And again, she was no different than the other lady from the hospital that I was in where I had my surgery. And this was so extremely weird about this thing. On my first night there, after being there for a while, I had my cell phone, my smartphone plugged in, to keep myself busy because even though I had a TV there, I remember on my first night there, I went to sleep. And I couldn't really lay down to sleep that well. So I'd sleep on this type of big recliner, which I didn't have a problem with. I liked it. As I was sleeping, a couple of hours while I was being deep into sleep, it's the typical routine when someone comes in to wake you up. It's time to take your meds, or someone needs to draw blood from you. Typical stuff. No big deal. Hang on. Sorry, I had to blow my nose again. There was this. Aside from that, about an hour or so later, I don't know when, somebody came in when I was asleep, and then I managed to wake up a little bit. I was drowsy, and it was that bitch nurse. And I thought that maybe she was just trying to wake me up to draw blood or whatever, or maybe she just didn't want to bother to wake me up. She's just going to draw blood or put some medication into my IV because I had an IV hooked in. So I didn't think nothing of it, but then right away, I felt my body being paralyzed. It was getting it was like my body got so heavy and paralyzed, and I tried to open my eyes, and I saw her, but it was like in a very dim room because the lights were turned off, and the only light that was coming was from the hallway. And when she was doing something to me, I don't know what the fuck she was doing. The whole thing lasted for about maybe 10 seconds at the most, 8 to 10 seconds, and there was somebody there with her. And I heard that person, whoever it was that was in there in that room with her, saying, "Hurry up, he's waking up. Hurry up." And then I felt myself getting more drowsy, and then more I couldn't even move. And that's what that guy was saying. "Hurry up, he's waking up." And then a couple of hours later, or whatever, I woke up wondering what the fuck just happened. I looked around, everything seemed normal, but it just didn't seem something. Then I just dismissed it as a dream or something. But then at the same time, I started to question whether or not it was a dream. That same lady came back, and then she was criticizing me on every little fucking thing that I was doing, and it was getting so fucking annoying, and I was able to talk at that moment. So I argued with her. So my attitude was like, "Fuck you! I'm not gonna fucking, that kind. I'm not gonna take your shit." She actually got so fed up that she left, and then I started arguing with her, and then I just went out to the hallway, and I says, "I don't want her to tend to me anymore. I want somebody else. She's rude and she's this and that." And I had my own thing of nasal spray. I had like 2 or 3 boxes of nasal spray because I couldn't breathe that well through my nose. And she took them. Just, you don't need to have this with you. Just when you need it, you're only going to use one puff once a day. That's it. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? That kind of thing. Lucky for me, I had one extra that I actually hid from them. A brand new one, and I kept it hidden. So when I walked away back into my room, I was putting some stuff away. I don't know, doing whatever. And then as soon as I turned to my left, there was this fucking guy standing there, unannounced. He was literally, he just stood there. And I was like, what the fuck? And then he just looked at me and stared at me, and he told me he was the behavioral health counselor or whatever. He talks to patients that are having trouble with their behavior or this and that. I'm like, okay, do you think maybe you could have knocked and then before you walked in? He just stared at me like that. And then I felt this type of ominous feeling that I could not even fucking explain, but it was an ominous feeling. Like something was going on. I only lasted 10 days there. I was supposed to stay there for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I did have family come by and visit once in a while. Even one of my best friends came by to visit me for a while, and I was trying to get him to stay there as long as he could. He was there for only about maybe an hour, hour and a half, and then he left. He visited me twice only. It was getting to the point where I started to feel like something is about to happen to me. I started to get paranoid. I just didn't know what the fuck it was. I just didn't know. So after so much bitching and bitching and bitching, to the point that they just got fed up with me, and then he says, okay, but if just letting you know now, if you leave now, we're not going to bill your insurance. Your insurance is not going to pay for it, for your hospital stay. They're not going to pay for it because you decided to leave early. So I've been here for 10 days. I'm okay now. And then they were trying like I don't know if it was a fear tactic they were doing. And I'm not really quite sure whether they stuck me with the bill or not. I think they did. But I think my insurance didn't pay it at all, or maybe they just paid a small portion of it. I never did try to find out, but I did get a bill. After all that drama that was happening, and then because half of the staff were okay, the other half was like, but there was like 2 or 3 people that were big time fucking assholes. I finally went home. My sister was angry saying that I left early, and I told her no, I just didn't. I just needed to leave. There was no need for me to stay there. I left like around 11:30 a.m. close to noon. When I finally got home, I was trying to get used to the whole sleeping arrangements and stuff like that. And then I slept on the couch and everything was pretty much normal for the whole day. I went to sleep on the sofa. I dozed off watching television. Everything seemed normal, and then I woke up, and the TV was on, so I turned off the TV and I decided to go to bed. I went into my bedroom. and I slept on my excuse me. I slept on my side. I slept like this on the bed, and for about maybe 15 15 minutes into it, possibly 20, I'm not really sure. I started to slowly, by degrees, starting to get drowsy. And then again, I felt paralyzed. And I felt this feeling of something is about to happen. Sure enough, something did happen. I felt, and I know this is gonna sound crazy to some of you, but something came out from the bottom of the bed through the mattress, reached around and grabbed me from my artificial trach. It just grabbed me, and I started to panic. And then with my hand, I tried to grab whatever the arm, and it felt like solid rock. It had so much tremendous amount of fucking physical strength, and I couldn't breathe. Like my whole respiratory system just paused or whatever, and then I was like this. The whole thing lasted for about maybe 4 or 5 seconds, and then I panicked so much, and then I just started to calm myself down, and I said this one thing, this incantation or whatever, and it finally let go, and it just disappeared into the mattress. And then I was able to breathe. I woke up. I got up from the bed, paranoid as fuck, paranoid and fucking pissed off, scared, the whole fucking thing all at once. And I couldn't make sense of it, but then at the same time, I did make sense of it. And I was trying to put the pieces together, and I'm saying to myself, what is all of this shit related? Is it all of, does this have to do what happened in a physical rehab center, the hospital, that mysterious fucking whatever they did to me when I was asleep, and I was about to wake up, and I felt paralyzed, that paralysis, and I heard those voices, and then that fucking counselor, they just decided to just come up to me unannounced, standing right next to me without me knowing, and all this kind of fucking weird shit. And then that shit happens on that night when I got home. What the fuck? If anybody knows exactly what you think might be going on, just please let me know. I do have my own theory of what it might be, of what it is, but and then just to let you know, I had it for 8 months, the artificial trach tube, and then I had it removed because it was getting to the point that it was failing. Instead of improving, which it kind of did at first, but then very, very slowly, at a very slow slide, it was failing. And then it got to the point where I felt like if I kept it with me, I was gonna die. Like something was about to happen. I constantly changed the filter, rinsed it out, and then whatever, and this and that, and which is normal. But I got so fucking paranoid and phobic near the end of the somewhere between the 7th month and the middle of the 8th month. So I had it removed. So now I'm using something else. The whole thing was just fucking scary, and I don't know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Questions or comments, you know what to do. And this is Dare to Speak. And to all of you, take care.